Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome all of you. Many of you have really very thoughtfully put up many points in the Google Sheet. Yesterday I was going through it, and there were some questions also. So I thought we will hear from those of you who have put up the points here, and we will also answer the questions. We'll begin with this one. It was very nice. Can we begin with Rahul Rajaram from Columbus? Is he here? Rahul?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Rahul, yes. You can. You have the sheet with you in front of you.
Yes, I do.
You can read your realization first, and then the examples you wrote. So everybody will also get opportunity to recapitulate what we discussed. Many good points you written. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just getting it up. It's loading a little bit, but okay. So for my realizations and understanding, the first thing I said was that we have to obey Krishna's laws, and that also the material world is limiting our freedom, and we are not supposed to be here. We're here because we thought that that we could become Krishna, but Krishna is the only Supreme Personality of God, and we are His servants. But because we've forgotten that position, we are in the material world. And then the examples were for the first one that we have to obey Krishna's laws. Nala Kuvera and Manigriva did not obey Krishna's laws when they were engaging in illicit activities with women. When they didn't show respect to Narad Muni, he cursed them. And then the second one, when we the talking about freedom and how this material world is full of it doesn't have any freedom in it. Prabhuji gave an example of when pigeons are freed, they're very happy because their cage is restricting their freedoms. So when we enter the spiritual world and continue serving Krishna, our true duty, then we will be happy again, because right now we aren't happy in the current material world because this is not where we're supposed to be.
So very nicely recollected the examples about Nalakur Manigrave. Actually, they were demigods, and they had very handsome bodies. They're very rich. They were friends of Lord Shiva, Rudrasya Anucharav, it is said. And they were sons of Kuvera, born in a very stinking rich family. So in this world, everybody aspires to have a handsome body and be born in a rich family. And they had both of it. But despite all that, they indulged in illicit activities, and the result, they became trees, isn't it? So one of the lessons what Rahul derived is we have to obey Krishna's laws. If we don't obey Krishna's laws, we will invite trouble for ourselves. Oftentimes when I reach out to students here in India also, many students think we are doing a great favor to God by going to temple or bowing down to Him or worshipping Him or chanting Hare Krishna. They think they have done a favor to God. Actually, we are doing a favor to ourselves only. By obeying God, we ultimately do good for ourselves. Like once, Bhaktivinoda Thakur told a story, beautiful story. He said a boy saw his mother paying a tuition fee to the mathematics teacher. So he asked the mother, Mom, you are paying him tuition fee? I am doing all the homework and he is getting the fee. You should give me, he said. Uh, Mom said, okay, he is making you do the tuition homework so that you can get better at mathematics. But he is educating you, so I have to give him some remuneration, she said. So the boy couldn't understand it. I am doing all the homework, and why is the teacher being paid the salary? He was thinking. Similarly, people generally think first about themselves and then about anybody else in this world. So, uh, actually, by praying to God, by aligning with His laws, we bring good fortune to ourselves. We become blessed. So, Nalakur Manigriv, they broke the law and they became trees. Again, the point, somebody may think God is cruel. They had such a handsome body, wealthy body, why did He make them trees? Actually, the bodies which are given as a punishment is given in such a way that they can't harm anybody. Like a tree now cannot go and harm anybody. It cannot move from one place to another, isn't it? It remains in one place only. So, therefore, like I told you, anybody remember some examples uh, why the restriction is put? I spoke about it in the previous two sessions. Why some restrictions are put on us? Is God cruel that He is taking away our freedom? So Rahul recollected 2 points here about we have to obey Krishna's laws and the material world is limiting our freedom. But why it's limiting our freedom? Can any of you would like to answer it? Because the discussions that we are doing now can lead to unlimited freedom for you. You can become happy in this world and happy in the next. Therefore, we are discussing this. So my question is why is there a limitation at all in this world? There are so many, don't do this, don't do that, follow the four regulative principles. So many restrictions are there. Why? Anybody wants to give a try?
You can feel free to unmute yourself and respond to Prabhuji.
Yeah. Who is going to answer Shamar Prabhu? Somebody's trying?
They have the permission to unmute themselves.
Oh, good. That's good. Thank you. This is an important question, isn't it? Yeah?
I think it's because like following all these rules and regulations, they keep us focused on like the path towards Krishna. Because otherwise, if we don't have these rules and regulations, like the four regulated principles, then we're gonna get stuck in Maya and like other things, and we're gonna get trapped in Maya. We'll be stuck and we won't be able to get out. So
Yeah, you are right. So to keep us aligned with Krishna and go back to Godhead, that's good. Otherwise, we may get stuck up in Maya. Good point. Very good. Uh, Definitely, that is the ultimate goal. The immediate reason why we are restricted is to save ourselves from hurting ourselves. For example, you like gems very much, isn't it? Cocoa chocolates. Now you ate 3, you ate 5, you ate 10. Your mom says, enough now. You can't eat any more chocolates. So why she is restricting it? She doesn't want you to enjoy? Why your mom is stopping you from eating more cocoa chocolates? Yeah? Yeah, you all know this, gems, cocoa chocolate, isn't it?
They're more popular as M&Ms here, Prabhu.
Again, can you please
In the
repeat,
U
please? Yeah?
in the US, they are more popular as M&Ms.
Oh, okay. Now they know what I am talking about, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, you can get me the this thing. I'll just get it. So you heard
So
what Mataji says?
one of the student Rivan, he has answered in the chat It is
Okay.
to stop us from hurting ourselves and our teeth.
Yeah, that's perfect. That is the answer I was looking for. Yeah. Yeah, correct. Yeah, Rivan has answered it here. Okay. Very good. Hmm. So stop from hurting ourselves and our teeth. Then we lose all our teeth, isn't it? So by making that rule for us, our mom is protecting our teeth for our own good. Is it not true? That's the point. Yeah. So that's very nice. In the same manner, God has made many laws in this world. Why? Just to protect us from hurting ourselves. Like, for example, if I smoke a cigarette, I hurt myself, I hurt my lungs. If I drink liquor, I hurt my liver. Similarly, people who indulge in illicit connections with different men and women, then they hurt themselves with sexually transmitted diseases, isn't it? So, in the same manner, one who eats anything and everything gets all kinds of complicated gastrointestinal problems. Somebody puts tobacco, they ruin their mouth with ulcers and everything. So, God doesn't want us to hurt ourselves, and He wants to see us truly happy. So He's saying, please don't eat this. It's horrible. Eat this. This is good for you. It's prescribed like that. Thank you. That was nice. Yeah. So, Rahul recollected about two things. We have to obey Krishna's laws for our own good, and the material world limits us. So, when we are limited, we don't like it. We want more freedom. In spiritual world is a place of unlimited freedom. Why? Because nobody will choose the wrong things there. Everybody always chooses the right, and nobody turns away from right directions given by God. Everybody aligns with Him. Therefore, it's a place of lot of freedom. There, I gave you the example in one of the previous classes. Narada Muni has unlimited freedom. He can fly anywhere he wants. In this universe or that universe, he has a lot of freedom. So, all of you, children, in your life also, you would like to have more freedom. More freedom is given to those who align with God's laws. For example, say one of your students, you tell your teacher, Madam, some special guests have come to my home. I may not be able to do the homework today. Can I do it day after tomorrow? And teacher may say, oh, you are a good student. You have always been doing the homework. You never miss it. Once in a while, if you have special guests, okay, you can be given freedom, no problem. She will give you freedom. So in our Pune, there were two boys who worked for a company, same company. So one boy wanted to take holidays for Yatra, Kartik Yatra, 2 weeks. So what do you think he did? He went in July month to the boss and said, Sir, I need 15 days leave in October. Right now, if you tell me every Saturday, Sunday, I will come. And I'll complete all my project. Can you please give me 2 weeks leave? And the boss said, why not? You are such a committed fellow. You are responsible, committed, sincere. Now boss said, I will also come. We both will work in 3 to 4 weekends. We will complete the project. And then you can take 2 weeks leave. Another boy was working in the same company. He kept quiet till the yatra came. When the yatra came, suddenly he submitted a leave application. Sir, I want 2 weeks leave. And the boss said, how can we give you 2 weeks? All your project is pending. So they didn't give him sanction of the leave. So in the first case, you see, based on his sincerity, he was given leave, 2 weeks leave, isn't it? The second fellow, both are devotees. The second fellow couldn't get, because second fellow thought, why should I lose the weekends? Weekends I will have my own time. So in this way, we all take responsibility for our lives. Then your future is very glorious. And if we don't take responsibility, if we, throw things to the wind and we just enjoy fun. Even all of you students, you know very well. If you don't study during the year, when the exams come, we will be very much afraid. Only it is said two people are very cool-headed. It is said one who has studied well, another one who has not studied anything. Both are cool because one will get very good marks. One has studied well, and one hasn't studied at all. He knows I'm anyway going to fail. All other people in between are afraid. So that was a very nice realization by Rahul Rajaram. Thank you. Yeah. And let us hear from. Thank you, Rahul. Very nice participation. Very nice. Then we'll hear from Ambarish and Gayatri from ISB. You can read out, please, your realization. Yeah. Yeah. Prabhu, they are unmuted.
Yes, Prabhuji, everybody has the permission to unmute.
I'm
So
seeing
Gayatri,
Gayatri is here. Actually, she can read.
Both
Yeah.
Gayatri and Ambarish are here.
But
Please unmute and
Ambarish,
start.
please.
Ambarish, can you unmute yourself? And Gayatri also.
Prabhuji, one minute. I need to get the realization outside.
Yeah, it's in the chat box also. Radheshyam just ping the Excel sheet.
Oh, okay.
Just read from there. Just click on that sheet.
Okay.
You can turn your video on so that they can see.
Okay.
You can take this one. Yeah, very nice point. He has written about the chasing of the pig. I had given an example now.
Yes, Prabhuji. So,
Yeah.
I and my sister have written about the pig getting chastened, and it got its karma. And so when I don't remember the complete story, but the pig was um like the kids were taunting the pig, and then the pig was running away, and then after a while the pig got the chance to take its revenge, and then it started running against the kids. So the kids had to run away from the pig.
Yeah,
So
that was the incident. Yeah. So what lesson we derived from this? Please tell me, Ambarish. The example is
yes,
perfect. Yeah. What lesson did we derive from it?
it's loading. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So uh, I said when the pig started to run away from the boys, it represents the mode of ignorance. And once it ran into the dead end, it started to chase them back, which was in the mode of passion. And another thing is, human life is also like this. In the morning, we're usually in the mode of goodness, and at the midday, we're passionate, and at the end, we're more of ignorant.
Okay. Actually, the modes that you said is correct. That when pig is running away, it's flee, we call it. And when the pig is taking a U-turn and attacking the boys, that is called fight. So it's a flight and fight. So the pigs were running away, then they were trying to attack back. Fight or flight. So I had used it in what context? This example, when people eat meat, when somebody takes a knife to cut the animal is afraid. It is trying to run away. But it cannot run away. Then the animal shows the teeth and tries to attack the killer back. And that is passion, fight. So this flight and fight response of the animal causes adrenaline hormone to secrete. And adrenaline is an unfavorable hormone. So when adrenaline secretes in the body of the animal and permeates the whole body of the animal, and we eat that flesh, then we get the same feeling also, same response like fight or flight. Then we also become very insecure and fearful in life by eating meat. And we also become violent towards others, aggressive and violent. So these two bad propensities cling to us when we eat meat. Either we become very fearful, oh, my other friends are going ahead in life, what will happen to me? So we fear looking at others. And we also become hurtful in speech, hurtful in behavior. So if somebody doesn't want to show this fight-flight response, and then we should avoid eating meat, because meat has got the adrenaline, and adrenaline secretes from this passionate and ignorant response. So is that very clear to all of you? Ambarish remembered the example very well. The example of the pig. Is that, did I make myself clear to everybody? Yeah.
Yes.
So your friends may ask you, why can't we eat meat? You can explain the scientific reason to them. Why we don't eat meat? Because by eating meat, we will always be insecure and fearful on one hand and aggressive on the other hand, which is no good for us. It's not a very healthy state for us. So I appreciate that. So that was Rahul and Ambarish and Gayatri Mataji recollected the point. Thank you. Thank you, Ambarish. And next one we have Avanish. Is available, Avanish?
Yes, Prabhuji. Can you hear
Can
me?
you please read out your realization?
Sure. So my realization from last week was that when you were talking about how the price of material or sinful activity, and that versus spiritual activity, and you gave the example that to eat meat, one must use his money in exchange for purchasing and eating an animal, and oftentimes that can be expensive. But like, let's suppose you needed to buy a chanting bag, it's very cheap, and so yeah, paying for something sinful is more than paying for something spiritual.
So that was a good point, Avanish. Thank you. All of you think for a moment, to do sinful activities, what all you need to spend and what results do you get? Let us be very logical as students. Think about it. For example, to do sinful activities, first of all, you have to spend. Cigarettes don't come free. Cigarettes, liquor, and tobacco, or having a partner to roam around. One doesn't get any of these things free. You go to a hotel, you have to shell out a lot of money. You go to a holiday retreat center, one has to spend money in this world. So one has to drink some costly rum bottle, one has to spend money, isn't it? So first thing is the expenditure for committing sin. Okay, then after consuming those things, tobacco or cigarette or liquor, what is the next thing that comes? Can anybody guess what? After consuming them, you can see the world around. When people consume these things, which are costly to buy, what is the subsequent result of that?
Complications.
Yeah?
Complications, Prabhuji.
Has Hari, application, what is it?
Complications.
You are right. Yeah, complications. Yeah. Hari, can you elaborate a little more? What complication happens to them? Yeah.
So, like, if you are drinking liquor or something, you'll get in a drunken state, and you won't be sober. And you might get in some complications. Like in America, the big thing is drinking and driving.
Yes.
You drink and drive, and you could lose your life.
Yeah, we can lose our life. We can take away others' lives. That can be a terrible accident. That's one possibility. Thank you. Any other complication, as Hari said? Any other complication?
There's a comment by Shubha Brata. He says that
addiction and greed. He's saying, Subhadra is saying that addiction and greed for more. That's true. Yeah. Once greed increases unlimitedly, one wants more and more of the same thing, although it is very bad. Actually, it is not at all healthy, those items which I told you now. But still one wants more and more of it. One becomes mad after it. One is hurting oneself more and more, still one wants it. Greed increases, yes? Anything else comes along with that? By consuming those things? One most important thing I'm looking for.
So Balram, he writes that there's bad health effects.
Yeah.
And Anirudh says loss of valuable time.
Yeah, correct. Loss of valuable time. And also he
Arjun
says
yeah,
smoking, you can
you
affect
affect
other
other
people
people.
as well. You can affect other people. Yeah, health deteriorating, correct? That is true. Our health will deteriorate. We also affect other people. We lose our time. All this is right. But I'm looking for one thing by consuming these things. All of you are right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes?
I was thinking
Srivats?
about how, yes, Prabhu. I was thinking about how materialistic, sinful life, just in general, even outside of the main drinking, smoking, eating meat sort of sinful activity situation, it all strengthens the bodily conception of life. And I
Actually,
mean,
Srivats, you are definitely right. That comes a little later. Your point is well taken. Surely, I'll be coming to that. But when you talk to people about what is sinful and how it makes you implicated in the bodily consciousness, and your next life will be like what happened in Alakur Manigrave, nobody likes to hear all this, isn't it? People say that, hey, don't remind me all these things. Like if you tell a student, hey, your exam is coming in 6 months, hey, don't tell me about exams, now I want to play now. They say like that. Therefore, I didn't bring up that point yet. Right now, I am only talking about the immediate consequences. Some of you have written health deteriorating, very good. Some of you said we spoil other people also. I mean, affect others. That is also correct. Arjun said, Arjun Desari said, and Anirudh said, loss of valuable time, correct. Uh, Bad health effects, okay. That is also, Balaram said that. That is also correct. And Subrata said, uh, Subhabrata said addiction and greed for more. That is also correct. I agree. But there is one very important thing that is missed out till now. I have not yet received from anyone. Here Rahul is saying intoxication dilutes consciousness, which makes you more likely to do things that you regret, like engaging in illicit activities and committing a crime. Yeah, that makes you guilty. It gives guilt feeling. I agree. Yes. Abhay Behra is saying karma. Yeah, karmic reactions will come. Like, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Agreed. That is also correct. Reactions will eventually come. Yeah. But what are the immediate effects we see? One immediate effect I have not yet seen. It's a very easy one. Once I tell you, you will say, oh, that's well known, you will say. You know what it is? Suffering. Huh? For example, one who smokes gets lung cancer. One who chews tobacco gets ulcers in the mouth. One who indulges in drinking liquor gets liver cirrhosis. One who indulges in illicit connections gets sexually transmitted diseases. More than 25 diseases are there which people suffer. So suffering is the one which is most feared by everybody in this world. If you ask all of you, how much suffering you want? You want this much? Or this much? Or this much? Now you will say, I want zero suffering. And if you ask you how much happiness you want this much, you will say like this. I want unlimited ocean of happiness. And suffering, I want zero. But these items which I told you, they actually give you suffering, which we don't want. That's the immediate effect of indulging in these things. One starts suffering. Varieties of complications, as Hari rightly said. Isn't it? So, that is one thing is the suffering. Yeah, it is also breaking four regulative principles. Yeah, correct. Sanket said that. You are right. And Abe said, karma, karmic reactions, that is something that comes a little late. It may not come immediately, instantly, but karmic reactions enters our bank account. You do a good act, you get good karmic reaction. For example, you acted good, like all of you. You are born in a good family now, for good parents, because you did good karma in the past. And you are also having a healthy body, you have good education, and you are healthy in the body. So this is all due to good karma. But if you did bad karma, then you get ugly looking body. And we will have a diseased body. We'll be born in a slum, a very poverty-stricken place. So we suffer. So by good karma we enjoy, by bad karma we suffer. So if you want to create a bright future for you, then one has to think twice before acting and not act instinctively. That is one lesson we learn. And you all came up with many answers, amazing. It's one of the breaking of the four regulative principles, it's karma, and also it produces guilt, our health deteriorates. All this is correct, yeah. Uh, and as Srivatsa rightly said, that is a very deeper implication which he said, that we increase our bodily consciousness by all this. We forget the spiritual duties, and then we have a very bad future in future, suffering in the future also. That means when one indulges in sin, one has to spend money, number one has to suffer, number two, one has to get a bad future, that is number three, and there is one more. Right now, for example, if somebody took liquor and his liver is paining, he has to run to the doctor. Doctor's fee. He has to spend money for the doctor. That is the fourth thing. And after death, the superintendents of death, Yamaraj, will send his constables to take us to the Yama's abode, and we get punishment 5. So 5 effects we get. 5 bad effects of sin. Huh? That you all understood now. Thank you. That was a nice realization.
Prabhuji, I want to ask you, like
Yeah, please,
when I
please.
was growing up and in college, one of the responses I used to get, from such people, that taking a little bit will not do much harm. Little bit of
Yeah,
alcohol.
many people
Actually,
think a little is
how
all
do
right,
you
they think.
respond to that, Prabhu?
The nature of material sinful activities is when you take a little, then you are tempted to take a little more. Chocolate in America, what was the name you said?
M&M.
M&M. So M&M, for
Yeah.
example, you take little M&M, then you feel like taking more. Is it not true? Huh? You feel like taking little more. And then when you take little more, you want even more. And even more, even more, even more. Up to the point it drives us to insanity. One boy was telling, I agree, rum is not very good. Is beer not all right? He asked. But then you take little beer, then it becomes double, then it becomes 1 bottle, then 2 bottles. Similarly, one becomes a chain smoker, one becomes an alcoholic. Why they do that, I will scientifically explain to you. For example, somebody is in a ground level now, like this you are seeing here. They want to get a kick. So they take these items, which I told you, liquor or smoke or something. And then what happens? It drains them gradually, it comes down, 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 down. When it comes, it doesn't come to this level, it goes down in the negative axis. Then you feel depression when it goes in negative axis. In order to come out of depression, instead of 1 cigarette, you take 2. Boop, immediately it takes you up. Then again it drains, drains, drains. Now even more below. Next time even more below. Then in order to compensate for the bigger and bigger depression, one has to increase the number of packets of cigarette. Is that point clear? Is that point clear to everybody? And it is not only with cigarette, with all the sinful activities it's like that. If you don't take them, they lead to depression. If you take them, they lead to complication. So all of you are fortunate to be devotees, because even without having to indulge in these things, you are learning about it. But those who are indulging cannot come out very easily. They are very addictive. They are addictive in nature. They cause you suffering and cause you depression. When you take them, when you consume them, they cause suffering. So Radheshyam Mataji brought a good point. So if I take little, I will be inspired to take more. If I take more, then all these concomitant consequences come. So you all are intelligent students, because of which you are now sitting in a class and coolly listening and participating and answering. You are learning about what is to be avoided in life with a cool head. But this is not the case with most of the youth in your age in the West. They have nobody to teach them. In fact, many of their parents are also indulging in them. And as Hari rightly said, they are terribly suffering many complications. They don't know what to do. Some of them commit suicide. This is the reason, you see. Eventually, they do that. So therefore, it is in our interest that we avoid these things for our own good. And
Prabhu, I just wanted to
thank you.
comment.
Yeah, please.
Prabhu, I was just thinking that recently, I mean, I'm a speech pathologist, so I go test kids. So recently I had 2 cases that I had to go test. One kid was going through depression. She tried to commit suicide in the bathroom, and at in her because of something that had happened, and she had become disabled. and another boy who was he was ghost riding. He was drunk, and he was ghost riding, like, open the window of doors and then ride when the car is going fast. So he was also totally disabled. So I was just thinking that, as you had mentioned, that how people can just get out of, just be totally, taking drugs or doing things that are not right, and how they're really lost. I mean, they have the boy didn't die, but he's on a wheelchair. He can't move. He can't talk. So it's very difficult. I mean, very serious
Yeah,
issue.
that is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and we are hearing such news, and many people actually uh, don't know the consequences before they indulge in them. That's the unfortunate thing. They just don't know about the consequences. They think it gives me kick, it gives me pleasure. They get into it, and then they get into trouble. And all of you are right now able to sit and analyze and understand it even before indulging in it. So we are fortunate, isn't it? Thank you, Mataji. And then we have Shreya from North Carolina. Is Shreya available here?
I did not see Shreya. Maybe we can go to the next one.
Next one is Sanket from Round Rock. Is Sanket?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, yes. Tanat Pranam. Yes, Sanket Prabhu. You can read your realization, please. Yeah.
Okay. So the realization was Krishna is very merciful. The example for that is a devotee was once cutting vegetables, and while cutting, he got a small cut on his finger. So the devotee said to Prabhupada, "Why is this happening?" "Because I was doing that for Krishna." So Prabhupada then said that the devotee's head was supposed to get cut off, but Krishna is very merciful and chose to just give a cut on his finger. The second understood realization was Krishna in this material world has given us both good and bad things, but we must choose what is good. So the example for that is a devotee once asked Prabhupada why Krishna gave us things like tobacco in this material world. So the devotee then said, so the devotee said, so Krishna gave us those so we can enjoy them. So then Prabhupada said, there is also poison in this material world, so why don't we consume that? I don't clearly remember the examples, Prabhuji, but it was something like that.
Yeah, you are right. That's the correct example. Like there is one plant called as datura, poison plant. In America also there is a plant called poison ivy, they call it. So why don't we consume the poison plant? If you say that I want to consume tobacco plant, then why not consume poison plant? Prabhupada asked this question. The boy said, how can I consume the poison plant? I will die. In the same manner, Prabhupada said, same way, God has kept good and bad in this world, and He wants us to make the choice of choosing the good and rejecting the bad. And that intelligence is given to us. What is good, what is bad, and one has to choose accordingly. So very nice points you recollected, Sanket. Very nice. So all of you students, you have the discriminatory intelligence. You know what is the word discrimination? Viveka buddhi. Can somebody say about it? What is the meaning of the word viveka or discriminatory intelligence? Yes, anybody? What is discrimination? Is it a very big word? Not so commonly used. So discrimination. Yeah, please.
Viveka Buddhi is something that is attained through devotee association and study of Shastra, in which one is able to understand what is good for them, what is bad for them, what is in their day-to-day life, and in general, they'll be able to see they'll be able to discriminate good and bad.
Discriminate means to know the difference between right and the wrong, good and the bad. What will benefit me in the long run, and what will not be beneficial to me in the long run. So you have the ability to clearly draw a line between this is good for me, I will accept it. This is bad for me, I will not accept. That is discrimination. You are right, Srivas. Yeah, that's called Viveka Buddhi. So we need to discriminate between good and bad in this world and accept what is good. And reject. Like for example, your exam may be coming after a year, but you have the intelligence to understand. I have to study little by little. Little drops of water make an ocean, as we say. And then when the exam comes, it will be easy for me. But if I don't prepare, suddenly I won't be able to appear in the exam. Like for example, in India there was a Bharatanatyam going on. You all know what is Bharatanatyam? You know, some girls practice takajud, takajum, they dance. You have seen that? People do that. So one boy saw a girl beautifully dancing on the stage. After her performance was over, he went to the stage and told the organizer, "Sir, can you please allow me to dance?" They said, "Wait a minute, have you practiced?" He said, "No, I haven't practiced, but after seeing her, I am also inspired. Now I also want to dance," he said. They said, "No, no, no. We don't allow people like that." He said, "Go back, 5 years nicely practice and then you come," they said. Similarly, to remember Krishna at the time of death requires practice. Life is a preparation and death is examination. So we prepare during the life. At the time of death, we can remember Krishna very easily. Similarly, in the same manner, if you discriminate and avoid taking in the wrong things, then you can be healthy and happy throughout your life. Like I come from a family from South India. When I was a small kid, once me and my sister went to the marketplace. And one man with a big mustache, he called me, "Hey, come here," called me. So we both went. Then he took out some currency, rupee note from his pocket and gave it to me and said, "Cross the road, get me a cigarette packet," he said. So then I told my sister, "Hey, this fellow has given me a work to do. Come, let's just buy a cigarette packet, give him and push off." So my sister somehow told me, "Hey, you cannot get him a cigarette packet. It is sinful," she said. I said, "See, I'm not going to smoke. He wants to smoke. I'm just purchasing and giving him." She said, "No, you should not assist a sinful person also." Like that she said. And she was also a small kid. And then I was wondering what to do. He has given me the money in hand. Then I told my sister, "Okay, you go to the end of the lane. I will come." So she went ahead. Then I went to this man and put the rupee note in his hand. And he asked me, "Where is the cigarette?" He asked. I took a U-turn and ran away after that. So in this way I escaped from bad karma. Because my elder sister, she taught me that this is not good to help somebody purchase a cigarette packet, you see. So in this way, if you are having viveka buddhi, discrimination, what to do, what not to do, you can intelligently escape from bad karma. Otherwise we will not know what is good for us, what is bad for us. We will get into trouble, causing trouble to others. So that was a good, that was a nice point, Sanket. And another point was Krishna is very merciful. It is true, whenever we all suffer in our lives, we always wonder why Krishna is sending me suffering. I am a devotee. A devotee is not supposed to suffer. So the example is given here. Krishna gives only token punishment. He doesn't give the full punishment to his devotee. Can any of you guess why Krishna gives only token punishment? Why not the full punishment? For his devotees.
Because devotees are following Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, you are right. When devotees are following Krishna consciousness, Krishna is thinking, "Hey, this fellow is already following my path. He is in the right path. Why he needs to be punished? He is a good child. So he is not naughty. And this is my devotee." Yes, the purpose of punishment is reform. If reform has already happened, then what is the need of punishment? Like what is the purpose of putting a thief in a jail? Like one example I'll tell you. There was one devotee called, I'll try to recollect his name. He was Prabhupada's disciple, young boy. The name slipped out of my memory. I read about him in Leelamrita also. So one day police came to him and said, "Now you had done drug peddling some years ago. For that you had to be put behind the bars for 6 months," they said. They served a notice to him. What do you call it? Warrant or whatever. You have to come to jail now. Yeah. So he told Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, I have been your personal servant, massaging you and assisting you, cooking for you. But I am very sorry to say, 6 months the police has called me to jail for 6 months. And Prabhupada said, "Okay, never lament, no problem. Now you have become a good boy. They will release you early." So the next day he was planning to go to jail, and the notice came that the jail stay is only 1 month for you, not 6 months. Because the police had already obtained reports that this fellow became a Hare Krishna now, become a perfect gentleman, and he doesn't need to be put in jail for such a long period of time. So then he went to the jail, and within a week he came back. Why? Because in jail they saw him, he's rising early in the morning, he's chanting japa, he's reading Prabhupada books, behaving like a gentleman with all the other thieves in the jail, and he's teaching them many good things. And the police people saw, what is the purpose of keeping him in the jail? Because the purpose of keeping him in the jail is to reform him. He's already reformed, so they reduced the term from 6 months to 1 month and 1 month to 1 week, and they sent him back. So you understand how logical it is, all of you, isn't it? So the more we align with, God-given laws, then the punishments are reduced. We discussed about it in the previous session also, fate and free will. The fate is reduced as you become more and more aligned, and you become very free and very jolly in life. More freedom is given for children who align with parents. They are given more and more freedom. Yeah. So that was good. Yeah. And Sachin is available from ISV. Sachin?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Can you please share your realization, Sachin? Yeah.
Sure, Prabhu. The point that most captured me during your lecture last week was about fate and free will, how it's significant, and how we should understand both in order to survive in this material world. The two examples that I written down, and I highlighted them. One is the cow tied to a pole with a long rope, which is a very precise understanding of fate and free will. You have a pole set on the ground, and the distance of the rope, that's your fate. That's how much you can move around that perimeter. But the cow gets to do everything inside that perimeter. It can stay close to the pole. It can go by the boundary. That's the free will that it has, and that gives a really good realization of what we can and cannot do, or supposed to and not supposed to do in this material world. So that was a very capturing point. Another one was the son of a billionaire.
Here, Sachin, one important point here in this example which you said. Example is perfectly right, what you said. Another very important lesson I derived from this example is, if the cow is a well-behaved cow, then will the farmer increase the radius or not increase? If the cow is a well-behaved cow,
the farmer would increase the radius.
Yeah. Instead of 1 meter, he will leave her for 2 meters because she's a good cow.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, he will find she's a very cool, very happy cow, and she doesn't hurt anyone. He will even release the rope and allow her to wander within the compound wall of the house. Later, he may even release her out of the compound to go and graze in the field and come back in the evening. So the freedom is increased to a cow who is well behaved. And if sometimes there are newly purchased cows on the market, when you bring them home, they have big horns. And if anybody goes near them, they do like this. They try to hit you with the horn. So now the farmer, instead of 2 meter radius, will he increase or reduce the rope? If the cow is showing the horn.
Then it would reduce because it's misbehaving.
You would reduce. You are right. Okay, Sachin, what lesson do you derive from this now, which I told you now? Depending on the behavior of the cow, the radius increasing or reducing. Yeah.
I can kind of get a realization from today's lecture as well, of how we have a set fate, and we have the free will to do things around. It can increase and decrease based on how we move around with our free will, and if we do misuse it, we will be pulled back. We will be restrained, constrained. Kind of like the example you had given about the M&Ms, the chocolate. If the kid keeps eating and asking for more and more and more, there is a reason why the mother is constraining the kid and saying, "No, I'm not going to give you any more." So now it's pulled back.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, right. Yeah. So in this way, our fate is increased by bad behavior, And free will is increased by good behavior. For example, in India, there was a small kid. His parents would give him every day 5 rupees. And then he collected it all in a hundi, and then he gave it for Go Seva. And the parents became so happy. And now they started giving him 10 rupees. They said, why you only 5? Because you are giving away everything to cow. So let us give you 10 rupees. And the boy was using that 10 rupees well. What do you think he did? So he gave 5 rupees for the cows. Other 5 rupees he collected and purchased books from the market to read and grow in his life. And the parents were so happy. So when the boy grew up, and they gave him the bureau key of the house. They said, whenever you wish, you can open the bureau and take the money, whatever you want. And then later on, when he grew up, they opened a bank account in his name. And they told him, now here is account, you have few lakhs of rupees. You can use in whatever way you need for your education, everything, my child. They had more trust. So the parents' trust increased in the boy because he used the money well, isn't it? And imagine if the boy misused the money, whatever was given, little money was given, he misused it, then even that little money will be taken away. Because he created a distrust or mistrust, isn't it? And what is the second example? Yeah, I think that is close to what I am saying now. Yes, go ahead, Sachin.
Yes, so the second example is the byproduct of what was said, which is the son of a billionaire example. Same concept as the son started misbehaving and not using the money in the right way. The father stopped giving him the daily payments.
Correct. That is true. Yeah, yes. So, if you all remember, I had told the example. The father was giving 5 rupees to a boy, but then the boy started smoking. The father stopped that 5 rupees, and the son became angry with the father. He said, "Father, you said you have 5 million. I mean, you have $5 billion property. You are going to write it in my name. You are not even giving me 5 rupees. And how will you give me $5 billion property in future? I don't trust you." The son said. Father said, "My son, if you smoke a cigarette in 5 rupees every day, you will die before me. If you die before me, then how can I write 5 billion in your name? Therefore, I am not giving you 5 rupees," he said. So in this way, the father's stopping of the 5 rupees was to see the son alive and not die. So in the same manner, sometimes God may not give what we are looking for, because it may not be good for us. So thank you, Sachin, very nice. Two very important points you recollected. So this actually brings us to one question that Shweka has asked. Is Shweka available here today?
Prabhuji, I don't see Sweka here. Maybe you can go to the next question.
Okay. Then Sachin has asked another question. Being realistic can become a little overwhelming to hear, especially to first-time ears. How do we approach this problem slowly so that it can be absorbed correctly? Powerful question. So all of you children are so nicely trained in Krishna consciousness. You can understand all these things what I am talking to you. You can easily absorb it and remember it and recapitulate also. But when you meet new boys, girls, if they hear about the consequences, what is right, what is wrong and all, it may be overwhelming for them, as Sachin rightly said. So what we could do? Anybody has a suggestion for this? What we could do? Let us hear from anyone. That's a good question, I appreciate. If a newcomer, you want to tell them about this subject which we are discussing in the last 2-3 classes, it's becoming a little overwhelming for them. They think, oh, God has kept, for the good behavior, He has kept one, and for the bad behavior, He has kept another. So it may be a little too much for them to take it right in the beginning. What could we do?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Balram, yes?
Hare Krishna. One thing I was thinking of that at least I found that everyone relates to is the fact that everyone knows that the world is full of suffering in some way or the other, and they understand this basic fact that it's not a perfect place to be in. And if you go off from that, you can talk about reactionary works, you can talk about sinful activities, you can say that these activities have certain types of reactions, And in that way, you can kind of start this kind of discussion, and then you can go into like how fate and free will kind of go with these kinds of reactions and why it's there. But I think it all
Right.
comes from this understanding that there's suffering in this world.
Correct. Yeah, that is true. And that is possible, as Balram said just now, especially with those students who are responsible fellows and who are willing to listen and learn for their own good. Currently, I am talking to one student from MIT, USA, Boston, one Richard. I meet him also one of the early mornings every week, and he asks good questions. Very sincere soul. And if somebody is sincere, then as Balram said, it will work. But some people are very playful, naughty, and not very serious about learning all these things in life. So what could we do with them? I agree with Balram Prabhu, what he said, that, you can explain the consequences of suffering. They also see it in the world around, that is true. But some people are not so serious in taking their life. They take life very lightly, and they may feel overwhelmed to hear about all this. Anything we could do? Start simple, he says. Arjun Dasri, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is good. That's a very nice point. Reduce. Anamay Singh is saying reduce. Yeah. One more point has come from Rivan, that perhaps the purpose was for the Hare Krishna devotee to introduce the other prisoners to Krishna conscious movement, the purpose for which he was put behind the bars. Okay, correct. That's our duty. Yeah, correct. Yeah, all of you are right. So as you rightly said, start simple. We can start simple. One of the simplest ways we can deal with anybody, I have seen anywhere you go, people don't reject prasadam. If you give him a nice cake from Govindas, he is not going to say no. Oh, wonderful. And he'll ask you, can I have one more? So we can give some nice prasadam to begin with. Then second thing people like very much is singing and dancing. You invite them. Generally, many students in Pune do this. They bring their friends to Govindas. They feed them nice feast. Then they bring them to temple hall and make them dance with all the devotees and music. People like singing, dancing, eating. It's a good beginning for them. And once they become familiar with these activities, they like it. Hey, these guys are happy guys. Then he wants to come close to you. And then he asks you, how did you become happy in life? You can say that because Viveka Buddhi, discriminatory intelligence. I do what is good for me. I don't do what is bad for me. They will ask you, what is that? Can you tell us? Then we can tell. Like what Balram said just now. We can slowly introduce the subject. Yeah, that's true. So I have always seen that prasadam and music works more easily than philosophy in the beginning. All of you are hearing philosophy because you are intelligent. You have been practicing for many years under the guidance of devotees in ISP, so it's very easy for you. But for newcomers, we can begin with prasadam and music. So, is it all right, Sachin?
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. And Abhijit had a question about scriptures and explanation of material sciences. So, in relation to that, what I have done, I have put a huge volume of varieties of things related to science and Vedas in a Google Drive, and we are uploading it. It's already done? Yeah, we are going to do it today, and then I will send the link to Shamru Prabhu, and I will request Abhijit to also go through it leisurely. You can see that, and you will find answer to your question there in that. Many things are available relating to science and Vedas, and we can immediately get answers to many of the questions in science in the Vedas. You will see that. So we will come to a conclusion with that. So the realization, understanding we discussed by all of you was thrilling for me to read all this, such great depth of understanding. Very happy to see all that. So what we couldn't read today is the comments that you all have given. Very nice comments. Probably we will read it next time. Very intelligent comments have come up by all of you. And we will do it another time when I come back again. Thank you for your participation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Madhji. Very nice participation, and I was amazed by their realizations and their questions also, and very thoughtful, because they are understanding subject very well. That's most important thing, because then you can retain it and then you can apply it. So you had asked some more questions which I couldn't answer today, but we will begin with them when I come next month. Okay? Thank you, Shamra Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah. Hare